Every year, Western countries export hundreds of thousands of tons of waste to Southeast Asia for recycling. However, many of these wastes are not recycled, but end up in nature or are illegally incinerated, with drastic consequences. The EU has tripled the export of all notified waste, hazardous and non-hazardous, from 6.3 million tons in 2001 to 21.6 million tons in 2016. The largest exporters as of 2016 were the United Kingdom, followed by Germany and the Netherlands. Austria had a very large increase in 2009, mainly due to the inclusion of excavated soil from a very large infrastructure project. China was the biggest buyer for waste recycling materials. It was buying recycling materials for its growing manufacturing. The most imported waste materials were paper, metal, and plastic. The total amount of waste imports by China reached 45 million tons in 2016, and in the case of plastic, China was accepting 70% of the world's plastic waste. By 2016, the USA alone was exporting over 700,000 tons of plastic per year to China. The EU's waste exports to China changed from almost zero in 2007 to slightly more than 1 million tons in 2017, but returned to very low levels in 2018. In recent years, public awareness campaigns, environmental agencies, and also the documentary Plastic China, which revealed the ugly reality of China's recycling industry, forced the Chinese government to place more focus on imported waste. China implemented different programs to change the situation. In 2013, with Operation Green Fence, China announced it would start enforcing quality standards for imported trash. Then, in 2017, the more aggressive program National Sword cracked down on illegal smuggling and set specific regulations on the composition and contamination limits of the waste products. The policy banned various plastic, paper, and solid waste, including plastics such as PET, PE, PVC, and PS. And finally, the Blue Sky policy in 2018 added even tougher restrictions and a plan to ban all recyclable imports by 2020. Those policies had major impacts on the price and destination of global waste export streams. When China banned importing waste, the world lost its major buyer. Waste prices, especially for plastic and paper, experienced special changes. Just as an example, in 2017, mixed paper was trading at roughly $90 a ton. But at the end of 2018, after China's strict regulations, it was trading at next to nothing. The most important point was that after China imposed an import ban on garbage, exporters looked for other places to send their huge amounts of waste. Southeast Asian countries such as Malaysia, Taiwan, Thailand, Vietnam, India, Indonesia, and Turkey became the next garbage dump for all exporting countries. Some of them, in fact, were happy to do so. But in reality, a large part of this waste was not recyclable at all. Greenpeace International recently published a report with the title The Recycling Myth 2.0, in which it covers the toxic after effects of imported plastic waste in Malaysia. Heavy metals and toxic chemicals are found in soil and water samples around illegal landfills, where waste from the West was simply dumped. The villagers in Malaysia are exposed to the residues, lead and cadmium in the soil, phosphorus, nickel, and antimony in the rivers. After a short period of time, most of these countries decided to stop importing low-quality waste and began to follow China's policy in setting stricter standards. They banned importing waste and sent them back to their origin countries.
Like any other developing countries, have a right to clean air, clean water, sustainable resources, and clean environment to live in, just like citizens of developed nations. If the ship to Malaysia, we will return it back without.
People are gravely insulted about Canada treating this country as a dump site.
The Philippines stepping up its push today to ship garbage back to Canada amid a years-long dispute over dozens of containers of Canadian waste sent to Manila labeled as recycling, but turned out to contain household waste, including diapers. Today, a Philippine spokesperson announced the country's president has ordered his government to hire a private shipping company to send the waste back to Canada.
Obviously, Canada is not taking this issue nor our country seriously.
Nevertheless, the German Federal Environment Ministry does not see plastic waste export as a bad thing in principle. Of course plastic is exported, because we have an international market for recycling. Lawrence Summers, former president of Harvard University and chief economist of the World Bank, issued a confidential memo arguing for global waste trade in 1991. The memo stated, "I think the economic logic behind dumping a load of toxic waste in the lowest wage country is impeccable, and we should face up to that. I've always thought that countries in Africa are vastly underpolluted. Their air quality is probably vastly inefficiently low compared to Los Angeles. Just between you and me, shouldn't the World Bank be encouraging more migration of the dirty industries to the least developed countries?"